All right, welcome everyone to the July 10th Community Service Advisory Board meeting. And I think for attendance, we've got, everyone just go around and say the name. Starting with you, Amanda.
Okay, Amanda Doherty.
Daryl Wright.
Roger Shabbat.
Nick Klisch.
Nicole Hall.
Emily Loader.
Trish Brigham. Okay, and we are missing a few people who had other commitments, which is fine. Karen is at the Finance Committee meeting. First order of business, approves the minutes from the May 8th, 2025 meeting. Did anyone have any comments or questions?
Thorough as always.
Thanks.
And like, they're in our inbox before we even can get.
That's right.
Thank you, Emily, you are a star. Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So
Second? Sure. Daryl moved and Amanda seconded. All in favor? Okay, that's very good. Citizens comment on any of the agenda items. I don't see anyone in person. Do we have
There's
anyone
no one
online? Okay, we'll skip that. Community Services Director update. Nick, freshly back from vacation.
no, I leave tomorrow.
Oh, you leave, oh, okay.
Awesome.
For a full week.
So I'm guessing this is gonna be a short update because you're already going into vacation.
Yeah, so just a brief update or where we are community services wise. Obviously, we're in full effect in beach season. We had an extremely busy July 4th weekend at all of our beaches. Our ranger program in its second season is going wonderfully. We're getting a lot of positive feedback on that. And the new stations that we have set up at the beaches. We have a full summer day camp of over 350 kids this summer, K through 6 at Wentworth School. In addition to that, we're offering 22 specialty camp programs this summer, including 11 sports camps, 3 technology camps, 8 enrichment programs, camps, and that's serving an additional 600 participants this summer. So our staff is, in addition to that, our active adults program has numerous summer trips planned. So very busy season for us, and our staff is spread far and wide right now.
The specialty camps you said, are those ones like your staff specifically is
We,
leading?
that's a lot of contractual programming with,
Okay,
outside.
with other stuff
outside
too.
Resources, yes.
So many.
It's definitely a boost from what we had last year and a diverse group of offerings this summer.
And all that data you're keeping for the budget for next year.
Absolutely.
And also, it might be really helpful. I mean, we've talked a little bit about letters to the editor, et cetera. It might be really helpful at the end of the season, either whatever you feel is more effective. Like, I'm happy to do it if one of the committee members wanted to write a letter to the editor or a brief article. Or if you feel it would be more appropriate coming from your staff, that might be something we want to do at the end of the summer.
Okay.
You can let us know via email. Does everyone agree with that?
Sure.
I think it would be really
No
helpful.
downside to it.
Definitely.
22, what programs?
It's 22 specialty
Specialty.
programs, so 11 sports.
Free tech and aid enrichment, got it.
We got
Thank you.
600 participants.
And the age, it would be really helpful to document the age, like, so serving ages 6 through 90, whatever. I know you don't know all of those, but serving approximately who the age range that we're serving.
This is outside of summer camp?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
okay.
our regular day camp is 350. In addition to that, special events that are ongoing or upcoming, it's National Parks and Rec Month. So many of you may have seen our calendar online, and it's also here for viewing. We have many offerings each day throughout the month. So that's something we're supporting right now. In addition to that, upcoming events, we have our active adult 55+ annual barbecue. That's August 13th at 11 a.m. at the tents near Wentworth School. So we're trying to publicize that. We normally get around 150 participants to this. So it's one of the bigger active events that we do. And then, as most everyone here in Scarborough knows, our biggest one is our Summerfest. So Nicole has been working really hard behind the scenes, prepping and getting that ready for August 15th. And that will be at the main complex at the high school from 5 to 10 p.m. We would love to see our CSAB members and the community join us for that event. In addition to that, as most of you know, in this year's budget, we were awarded a full-time position for a recreation coordinator. We moved quickly over the course of the last month to post that position, interview, a very competitive process. We have made an offer and officially have hired, his name is Zach McGoldrick. He'll be starting with us on Monday of next week. So a quick turnaround. He is currently the program coordinator in Buxton. And has numerous experiences in the Parks and Rec world, as well as a degree in sports communications. And has been involved in the MRPA field.
Is that like what Steve Kramer had been doing?
So Steve is our,
Steve
rec-
kind of did everything.
yeah, Steve did both recreation and waterfront.
Okay,
So this person will report to Steve.
gotcha.
But be in addition to and help us spread
That's
the
great.
wealth and activate additional programming. Just one project update, a public notice will go out next week, full renovation of the outdoor basketball courts at the Quentin Drive complex, will begin on July 28th. That project will take about a month and a half, start to finish, after they come in and rip up. They repave it and it has to cure and set for about 30 days, and then they come in and resurface. That won't just be basketball, we'll be overlaying 4 permanent pickleball court
Wow.
lines on it. So it'll be multi-use facility, and it will be really, really nice and a huge upgrade for the community when it.
Where is that?
Right across from the library.
Oh.
What'd you say,
those,
Spencer?
okay.
Those cool.
What'd you say, Spencer, what? What did you call it? What's the name?
Quentin Drive, right across from the library.
Okay, okay. Is there a name for that?
We were saying that, no.
There's no.
Okay.
Maybe it's,
Actually, there's a naming rights that you could sell.
Oh, that's a good idea.
project wise, that's the only one that's really moved to boot. We're still working behind the scenes on additional pickleball courts, the skate park, finding a location for that. It's taking a little longer than we expected, but it's definitely in our vision and something we're actively working on.
I'm not kidding about the naming rights. There was a group, the courts at Cape Elizabeth at Fort Williams have been redone, and there is a group of pickleball players that raised, the town gave X amount of money, and this group raised X amount of money to help. So you've got avid pickleball players. It might not be a bad idea. I don't know how you go about doing it, but they did it. It was a joint, private, public, funding
Partnership.
project at Fort Williams.
That's neat. And did you say it was just the court or like the hoops getting replaced
There'll
as
be
well?
all brand new stanchions.
Conley is going to be so excited. He literally mentioned it yesterday.
Polycarbonate units, state of the art.
Wow.
It'll be a wonderful project when complete.
So exciting.
And you-
Basketball court, you're talking.
And you use that for camps too, right?
Yep, right, currently.
There's a
outdoor
3v3
track.
right now that
Perfect.
Joseph's doing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then lastly, I just wanted to touch base on, I'd like to invite our community services staff to the September meeting. They've solicited to us that they would like to meet the board that does a lot of the work in the committee. And we would love for the opportunity for you guys to meet them as well, understand their roles and their responsibility within the department to put face to name.
That's great.
So,
Perfect.
Great idea.
Great idea.
Glad they
Agreed. Yeah.
I have one more. I just want to touch base. Some of you may have seen on the town's website, the Close the Gap project of the Eastern Trail.
Yeah.
And that is underway, a long time underway, with the plan for the first phase, hopefully to be finished in the fall of next year, and the second phase to be done in the fall of 2027. So the town's very excited about that project, that final 1.6 miles for accessible trails.
When are they starting that work?
They already have.
They already did.
Really?
Yeah.
It started a few
Yeah.
months ago.
It bisects the market and
Now it's variety.
Hannaford
You want Pleasant Hill?
corporate offices.
That's where the work has started right now, right behind Al's Variety in that section.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where where will it ultimately connect?
Yeah.
To South Portland, Waypoint Complex. And
So well,
So-
it'll cross Pleasant Hill Road though. You'll have to have a walking path.
Yeah.
Or you'll have to
Kinda like the
cross
one on
that road.
Broadway.
Either probably.
lights?
Lights, yeah.
Oh, okay. I need like a drone view. Sort of-
I bet one exists.
I know, to kind of put it together.
Well, they
Okay,
gotta build a bridge. It's really.
two bridges in the whole process.
I believe that the communications committee was gonna, with There's something with a map that's showing like.
I
how
think
it's
it
Yes,
was
there is.
posted on the town's website
Yeah, on the-
today,
yeah,
actually,
okay.
because that's the only reason
Yeah,
I
I'll
heard of it
check
when
it
you
out.
mentioned it. I can't remember if it had the pictures, but it definitely gave like the timeline for it. It's the only reason I
Good,
knew
all
about
right,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna look. That's exciting.
Very exciting.
I used to be on the transportation committee, and that was one of the first things we talked about, and couldn't get the approval from one of the abutters, and so it was. And I bet you that's a good 15 years ago that they
I
were
was like,
working on.
when Bruce was here, we were working
Oh,
on
yeah,
it,
yeah.
so.
Wow.
Long time coming.
So will there be any sort of like, I don't wanna say ribbon cutting, but any sort of,
I'm sure when it's
Even be-
complete, yes.
but even
you know,
how about before that?
They're gonna
Kinda
be
keep the
doing
equipment-
a groundbreaking ceremony,
Good,
upcoming in the next few weeks.
Great.
Relatively small, but, a public acknowledgement, and there should be a press sale article coming in the next week or so.
right?
And the bike group had, donated a lot of money. for-
Yeah, I saw that, okay,
That's all I have for my report.
that's
That's great.
awesome.
That's a great.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, Nick and Nicole. Ordinance committee meeting update.
Sure, Counselor Shoup, is unable to make the meeting tonight. She's at Finance Committee. As most of you know, at the June Ordinance Committee, CSAB, brought the recommendation forward. It was decided to be tabled, and assessed at a future ordinance meeting. Last night was the future, ordinance meeting, the July Ordinance Committee meeting met. They voted to indefinitely table the animal, ordinance. And when it comes back, when or if it comes back, it would be produced by town staff from the current version of the actual ordinance. And I do personally want to thank CSAB and the amount of work, well over a year, a lot of time and energy and effort. We understand the process played out far differently than most expected. But this is kind of where things stand on the ordinance review. But again, appreciate your efforts. I know it was a lot of person hours, and commitment around it. And we could have gone in many different directions, but this is where it's,
How does that, where I'm trying to indefinitely tabled, that they can basically choose to bring it up whenever they would like, but they're not going to take our input anymore? Is that
well, I
correct?
think if and when it comes back,
Mhm.
there's going to be a lot of public input. So I would advise that you become active in those engagements and conversations. And the town, staff will lead that process.
Okay,
And it could be probably an opportunity where, some of the things that you really wanted to see in there can be communicated. And, I think they were just looking to start fresh from the current
well,
ordinance.
sort of, right? Because the agenda for last night's meeting said their choice was to table or to literally say, nope, we'll vote on it and then start fresh. So my assessment of what occurred is that they don't want to start fresh because they want to keep using the bad version. So that's what's happening.
When it got moved along, it in essence removed the version that was recommended by CSAB. So
Right.
it'd go back to the current ordinance as a starting point.
Right.
Reflection.
Yeah, I just want to make sure for anyone that ends up watching this meeting that those were the two options they had last night and they went with the tabled one.
I'd just like to add first and go on record as thanking the committee for the work that they did. I would like to also ask or comment two things. One, I would hope all of the work that we did is taken into consideration in whatever future. Two, and most of you know this, I was and wrote to the town councilors, I was extremely disappointed in the way this committee was treated during the beach fee public hearing process. And I would like to request or I guess suggest, I don't even know, I have no power, but I am gonna go on record as saying this. I would like to think that we get better clarification as a committee if we are tasked with advising from both the ordinance committee and town council as how the process will look from the beginning to the end, so we know when we're inserted, what our role is. And so that we don't waste our time and that the information as an advisory board that we provide is respected.
Completely understand.
Okay, and I guess also I know, and then I will stop on this. I know that there was a review of committee roles and responsibilities. I think Nicole, at one point, maybe you had asked that, or I don't know, maybe it wasn't you. If our role is an advisory board, it would be helpful before you recruit new volunteers onto a committee for them to understand what their advisory role is, so that we don't sit and waste time and have it tossed out or get tossed into a public hearing before we know that we're being tossed into a public hearing and what our expectation is. I feel like in many instances, we were the fall guy. I'm going on record as saying that. People can like that or not. But I think that if you're going to have recruit volunteers to serve on the town committees, their role needs to be clarified. Anyone else want to make any comments before we move on? I'm sorry, I took the floor a lot on that, but
I agree with everything you said.
I think, clarification for future meetings is that in any instance that we are asked to review anything, it needs to be made public a minimum of 1 week prior to us discussing it, which includes agendas or minutes or documents or anything like that. So if there's something that needs to be known beforehand, like if we have something that we're going to review for our September meeting, then we have to post all of that in public a week before the meeting, so that anything that we do has to be completed a week before the meeting so that it can get posted.
Right, the
Correct.
previous understanding was
Okay.
just the agenda, and now we know there.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
So this was a good learning experience, but I hope going forward, there's some positive that comes out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know we have reviewed the programming piece next on the docket. I just want to kind of jump in before we get to that portion and provide some context and info. Not long after our May 8th meeting, I was informed by the town that they were doing their annual, not annual, their townwide survey. I think the last one was done in 2023. And this was about 2 weeks after we had originally met. And community services will be involved in that in some fashion. The final version of that has not been constituted yet or produced. We're hopeful to get some additional areas in there, maybe some target areas in there to address feedback to our department specifically and in our programming realm. So having said that, I do not want to move forward with an additional survey. I think we've all seen feedback of numerous surveys. And I don't want to go down the traditional survey route after they're doing that as well. So I don't want to duplicate the process. I think our premise around the information we're trying to gather is, definitely what we want to do, and it's valid. But we should kind of channel that energy and focus in a different way other than that process of a survey. I know Nicole and I are pursuing what Daryl had mentioned, the thought exchange, which is a non-traditional survey process that gathers a lot of information in different ways. We have a demo meeting set up July 22nd.
Cool. Awesome. That's a great suggestion.
To vet that process. And kind of see what it can give us from a capability standpoint and how we can implement that into gathering the information that we're truly targeting. And we can report on this in the September meeting of where we stand and if we have moved forward with this and how we can implement it. And if it happens faster than that, we can communicate it via email and let you guys know that we might be implementing this in another version. I do want to acknowledge it's kind of a switch of gears coming into the meeting tonight, expecting to talk on the survey piece. But a lot of this is happening in real time, and I wanted to be very, open with everybody here that's why I do not want to pursue the survey option.
Sorry.
In the meantime, or at subsequent meetings, I certainly want to get the feedback. We as a department want to get the feedback. We want to get ways or other non-traditional ways to get that feedback and, with the ultimate goal of improving our department as a whole, but programming in general. So I don't want to be close to it. I just want to be transparent with them.
So one of the things that and obviously I agree, we don't want to send out surveys at the same time, it will be unproductive, but one of the things we had talked about is because of survey fatigue. Our goal with what we had dreamed up was to do a focused one, right? For this age group and that age group. So then parents would say, oh, this is just about like the kids that I have and answer it in order to get more responses. Cause right, that's always the struggle with these surveys is, come on, people, it's only 15 minutes, take time to reply. Is there, I guess, two questions. One is for the town survey that you said community services topics will be in there. Is there a deadline, perhaps it already passed, but for us to provide input to you all as to the questions that could be in
You
there?
can certainly, we would welcome you to email us what you would like to see in there. I can't guarantee anything how it will make it.
No, I understand, but I just thought that might
It's
be
not passed.
helpful.
It's not passed.
Okay.
It's currently a work in progress. I know it's going out in the fall, so I would
Okay.
imagine within the next 30 days or so, they would be looking to finalize it. So the
Okay.
quicker we can get, any feedback that we'd like to be seeing as a department. We looked at the last 2023 survey and found areas where
Right.
our department necessarily wasn't expanded on. That we made some suggestions already towards that may or may not make it in there.
Oh, go ahead.
I think John Anderson that's on the council is the chairperson involved
He's
with
putting it
setting that
together.
up or getting it going, and I'm wondering if we can't ask him what we could do and how we can do it, and and I think you're on top of that.
I'm happy to bring it
Great
forward
idea.
as well. I think we
Great idea.
can CC John and communicate it.
And then we-
Discussion.
Yeah.
Then we can do something with what you guys wanna do and still have part of the survey.
And that was kind of my second related question, and this they might not be willing to do, but like it goes out, it's almost like there's a cover letter, for lack of a better word, like a little blurb, like, here's our survey. I wondered whether we could be so bold as to ask for like a line, maybe underlined, italic, something that says community services is specifically seeking feedback about their programs for toddlers and youth. We encourage you to fill out the surveys, just something where
Yeah.
where parents might actually take the time to do it rather than going, I do not have time to do something else. If they might be willing to do it, I think that would help us know other things we might want to do. You all would know without having to wait until like an off year to do what we want. And then in conjunction with, what'd you call the think engine?
The thought exchange.
Thought exchange, T and E, I mixed up the words. Then we'll have really good information for everything we want to accomplish.
I don't think that's an out of bounds request by any means. I
Yeah.
think we can certainly request it.
No harm in asking, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know, Nicole and I had kind of batted around just some various thoughts specifically to maybe this thought exchange. As we have upcoming special events, and she might be able to speak to it a little bit more. Maybe it's a way, if we move forward with a thought exchange, a QR code, or, do you want to talk a bit?
Yeah, when I went to an NRPA training a while ago, there was somebody that was throwing out all these ideas at special events as far as engagement goes, and they kind of do their surveys on the spot with, a dynamic QR code, and staff walks around with a little badge and, pesters people lightly to participate. Everybody's got their smartphone on them, so they should be able to take it. I think the idea with the thought exchange where we would gather some really good info is because it's like a broader based question that it asks, and it asks people to kind of give their input. And then people to weigh in on that input it almost is like a big thought board where like somebody can legit say, these are the programs I want, right? And then other people can be like, yeah. So we can see in real time, like, okay, like this could be a legit program because I've got 15 people saying they really want that.
Right.
That's the hard piece, is like trying to gather that data to figure out like which ones are really gonna roll. So
On that note, right, you have 350 kids in your summer day camps. Many of them may have younger siblings, like
Yep.
these are parents of younger siblings. Do you do any kind of feedback at the end of the summer that you could put in a question about?
we do
Younger-
an end of summer survey.
Are there opportunities with that already to put in, do you have younger children? Is there younger other programming you would?
Yeah.
Or like you,
Mhm.
on the last day when parents picking up their, well, not, maybe that's a bad example, because they're rushing to get out. of
Usually
it.
it's just like maybe the week after summer camp.
Yeah,
is
that's
over,
what I was
we'll send
wondering,
out
if you
something.
could, or even like on the spot, I love that idea of a QR code, like fill this out in the next 15 minutes if you're there, type of deal. Cause that's your audience, I would think, part of it anyway. Some people don't have kids yet in school, but I would think those with school age kids, I mean, I remember, my kids were between 5 and infant, so I always had someone coming up.
Our thought was Summerfest as well. We generally.
Yeah, you've got families,
3,000, 3,500
Yep.
people that attend. It's an
Yeah.
active audience.
perfect.
Yeah.
or these people could have
Yeah.
grandchildren.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we've got some good ideas on how to collect the information anyway.
I'm certainly open for suggestions, but I just kind of wanted to get ahead of
I
it.
like all of.
Okay, so
those.
meeting adjourned. So how do we go about like connecting with John to offer feedback or like collectively
Yeah.
take what we have? Cause like I have questions, started, but obviously like some of them won't even apply if it's a town
Bigger.
council one, so.
I think if the board wants to communicate via email and compile and push them forward to me, and then I can communicate.
Okay, sure.
What is being requested and see where I go from there.
What's the timing on that?
Soon,
Yeah,
Sounds
next
like
couple
it.
of weeks, I would say would be most beneficial.
well, just for those members that aren't here, when we
Yep.
push these out in the minutes, do you want to pick a date? July? Obviously before July 31st, I would guess.
Yeah, I think if we targeted Wednesday, the 23rd would be
So 2 weeks, basically.
or let's do Thursday, the 24th. That gives us 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so how do we want to do this in the most efficient manner?
So I can take the questions that I started with in the survey as a starting
Yeah,
point and send it
yeah.
out to everybody, and
Yeah.
then people can offer feedback from
Perfect.
there. And then after we, let's say, like the day before the 24th, I'll take whoever responded
Yep,
and then
perfect.
edit and then send
Yeah,
it.
that way you're
Is it-
getting one document.
Is it easier to do it like a Google Doc?
It is a Google Doc.
It is,
That's
okay.
Yeah, we do
That's how
everything.
Oh,
Emily
is it?
will
Okay,
act.
okay.
Yes.
It's
You
okay.
like compile and send it, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
no,
my god.
no,
But not everybody responds to that, but everybody does
Yeah,
respond to
we're
email.
all in,
so-
we're all in.
Okay.
the everything we do is in the drive. we're
Right.
not-
I mean, everybody can theoretically look at it right now
Yeah.
and make edits or
Yeah.
comments to it.
Yeah,
Whether
And
that
so when you
happens,
send it out, just for those people that aren't here, is like, it'll be in the minutes, obviously, but highlight what's in the minutes of. We can't do what we said we were gonna do, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
unproductive, here's our goal, here's our
Yes.
deadline kind of thing.
yes,
Yeah,
I mean, yes, everybody has access to it now and can see, and
Perfect.
can see it.
right, I
though.
looked at it before tonight. so
Yes,
that's
exactly,
perfect.
yeah.
Okay,
So if people want to directly comment in that form, they can do that or respond back to the email, it doesn't matter, and then I can just compile them and send them out.
okay, thank you for doing
And
that.
I just want to be clear, like, we can do all the groundwork. What makes
They
it
may
in,
not-
what
We
doesn't
get
make
that.
it in.
Yeah.
I do like the idea where there, like, if there's that cover, if that exists in this one, where there's a cover page and saying, hey, let's go this way.
Or even under a subcategory, because some of them are very general. I know in 2023, they were focused on library, right? So they had a couple subsections. I think they had the same for public safety. So maybe
Well, my hope was that it was like before you even click on the survey, because there's some people that won't even take the time to click on it
Yeah.
unless they think there's a topic they're interested in. So I was thinking sometimes they post it on like the town website, but there's like 3 or 4 sentences saying, here's what this is, and we would like your input. Also, we
Yeah.
wanna know all your kid stuff.
or your
Here's stuff.
input on, and then
Yeah.
like, it almost could list what are the hot topics? Public
Right.
safety, library, like
Yeah,
community
youth
center.
programs.
Youth
stuff,
programs, so
Yeah,
people know like, oh, I do care about that, I'm gonna just take the time,
Yeah.
I agree with you, if it like pops up and like, oh, that is something that really is important to me.
right.
That might be a recommendation to the town council or whatever, anyway, to make their own survey better, even if they don't include our stuff.
great idea.
Well, and even the end of camp for all the camps that we're doing, attaching that, please be on the lookout for this.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Just to make sure, because
Yeah.
that's our
yeah,
audience,
yeah,
let them know that in the fall, there'll be something from the town, please make sure to,
it's a good idea.
Respond.
Yeah.
Fill it out. Great idea.
I mean, my only other crazy idea is repurposing a bulletin board to have here or to bring to events where people literally write down their ideas
Yeah.
and their check mark.
Yeah,
So a thought exchange in real time.
I like it. I
I think-
actually
yeah.
really liked that, like, go around with the.
With the
QR
sticker,
code.
yeah,
Or
that's-
something like, we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I specifically work with parents and families that don't have access to a lot of tech. And
Yeah.
so when we issue and put stuff out, like we have to do it 50,000 different types of
Yeah.
ways. So
Yeah.
like, we'll post it on our social, which I know what you guys do with a lot of stuff anyway for surveys and stuff, but like it gets posted on social media, like we mail copies to houses, we
Yeah.
have paper copies on hand, we create Google Forms with like a short link so people can click it. So there's nothing wrong with, once that's out though, how, like, sharing it out through all of the different
Agreed.
mediums.
Yeah,
I think that's, that
I
on,
think it just has to do with timing, right? Like we
Right.
can't,
but you
Can't
do
drop
have
that
captive
one, but-
audiences when people drop their kids off,
yeah.
like they're in person. I know, like when my kids were younger, well, before tech, I'm aging myself, but it was the backpacks. Thursday was the backpack and you put the flyers in the backpack.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have that.
The go home folder.
We have the Friday
Exactly.
folder.
And it was
when-
like, okay, so I'm not so old. I mean, I am old, but they're still doing that. So yeah, I agree with you, Emily, and that's a great idea.
They actually did that at the Scarborough High School basketball camp this week. They had a table outside the door and it had information about the Scarborough High School soccer camp.
Mhm.
But parents thought it was some paper they had to take and then you pick it up and like you're forced to read it, because it's right in front of you. So like
Good
I said,
idea.
all the different ways, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Okay, anything else on the survey and collecting information? Because that was gonna be the topic. Okay,
So I think that if, once that survey goes out for the fall and all that information gets collected and then reviewed, you guys would decide what to do with it and then ask us for help from there.
Yeah, I think we
Correct.
would share the results,
Mhm.
right? And figure out a plan forward.
okay, so then want to confirm the rest of our meetings, and I think the other thing, Emily, you've been good at keeping us on task, is volunteer programming will come as a result of this, so we defer that a little bit. Volunteer recruitment, that be the.
Yeah, I think this is an opportunity for us to pivot a little bit, off the programming while we try to collect some of that data. There's no strong system or operation or framework in place right now of how we do our volunteer efforts. And how we recruit and what we're recruiting for. So I think this is an opportunity for us to put our heads together at the next meeting of what kind of system we can put in place that would both be effective for community services and may also be supportive to other town initiatives.
Okay, so that, our next meeting is September 11th. I know last time we talked about potentially changing dates, but it seemed like no weeknight worked for everybody, so. September 11th, and we were starting earlier, weren't we? Do we want to start with the 6:30 or do we stick with 7?
No, we start
With
six.
6,
Started
you want
at
to stay with
Yeah.
the 6 PM?
That I was trying to remember, for some people, the later would be, was it Alex
I
maybe,
think it
like
was
later
Ellen
was
dropping
better,
her
but
off
for
to
others it would be
Yeah.
Right.
not as good.
And this starting point can be as basic as some board ideas of how, how to develop a process and a framework for us to.
That's what we
Oh,
started with
the
beach
staff,
days.
I know. Well, you want to bring
Yeah.
your staff as well. That actually
Yep.
might be a good topic to have staff and the board working together on.
Mhm.
I know that I will not be here for that meeting because I'll be out of town, but I will try to zoom in. So
We'll figure out on minutes.
We'll
So it's
do it.
still the
Take minutes.
second, so that second Thursday, just for planning purposes, still
Yeah.
what we're sticking with.
yes, yep.
For some reason, even though that's what my calendar says, it told me our meetings were on the 18th and the 20th, but those are the third Thursdays.
It used to be, and then we switched to the second.
No, I know, my calendar says repeat every second Thursday of
Yeah.
whatever, and it's
It's
not
the wrong date. Okay, yeah, I think actually that we've also talked about over time working with other groups in the community, and when you do volunteering, like particularly with some of these things, you're gonna overlap with school population and that type of thing, so
Mhm.
we can start the conversation, but it may lead to other connections in the
Sure.
community.
Now, just for note, with the 2 meetings left at the end of the year, September and November, we have 4 people that will be terming out of their spots. And it'll be Art, Roger, Alex, and Daryl. But I think you were, because you were filling a spot and you can, and you can term in. So the only people that cannot renew their terms is Art and Roger. Everybody else can renew if they choose. Just heads up.
So what happens? Do you put out the word? I forget how, I mean, I should know.
I have to check into that. I'm not completely
I
familiar.
think
with the
you have
process.
to advertise,
website,
yeah,
I
and
know.
say that there are 2 seats. So Brittany, does she move into one of the spots too?
So Brittany would take one spot and then Daryl would take the second, and then we would have 2 alternate spots open.
Okay, so they're all, that's the clarity
Mhm.
that we need to make when they advertise it, that it's alternate spots.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And we clarified that the alternates vote if they have to for a
If
quorum.
somebody's out.
If somebody's
Someone's
out.
out, if you don't have a quorum.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other items of business?
So I don't think we have a current agenda, or we had picked like programming and volunteer recruitment from like our previous goals, and I think we don't have anything planned past that. And I would roughly assume that the September and November meetings would be around volunteer recruitment.
I think so.
Um,
And then we can see where the
mm.
survey results come and plan accordingly after that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Do you think we'd have the results in a like way that you can actually absorb by the
Probably not until
November
the
meeting?
November, well, yeah, I was gonna say, not until the November meeting.
Late, yeah, late.
I know they were sending it the fall, so I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, I don't know when there's.
Oh,
Fall
I don't know
September or
the
fall
length of time
November?
they'll run.
Oh, and we
I'm gonna guess that
potentially,
with a survey that big, they'll have it run a good amount of time.
and the November
November.
meeting,
My wife gave me a little handout from Piper Shores, and they had a meeting with different people, sponsors or whatever, about what they wanted, or they were asking for volunteers, and
Oh.
they were looking inside of the Piper Shores community, and I guess that people, I mean, my wife's program with the Plovers have a lot of people that are from Piper Shores, and they love it, and they're there all the time, so you can probably get an idea when they have that forum to have somebody
yeah,
represent the community services that they're looking for volunteers, and you might have a list of what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think ultimately we're looking for a way for people to know what the opportunities are
Right.
and like the process in us taking them on and
yeah,
getting them set up and, yeah.
yeah.
And I think ultimately it'd be great if like all the opportunities are in one place
Yeah,
defined. I think that will take some time.
yeah. Yeah, I think this could be a big project, but one that was exciting too, that would yield benefits for the community and the town and your department and the town. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so we're on for September 11th, 6 PM. The main topics will be volunteer recruitment and a meeting with the staff, the community service advisory staff. Okay,
Motion to adjourn?
second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming
Yep.
tonight. And we're done.